Hello everyone and welcome to this new video from FreeJames106 channel. Welcome back to the channel after the break for Next. Today we're going to take a look at an interesting tool that in my opinion is an amazing addition to a 3D printing workshop. I'm talking about the filament connector by Sunlu. So in this video we're going to dive deeper into what this filament connector is, how to use it, and what we can create with this very unique tool. I will show you 5 interesting applications and I'll also give you some tips on how to get the best results possible. So let's cut the chase and get into it. The filament connector, as the name suggests, is a filament connector. But what does that mean? Well, this tool is used to solder together 2 pieces of filaments. You should know that Sunlu didn't invent this kind of tool. In fact, you may have seen online other devices with the same function. The advantage of Sunlu's version, however, is the ease of use and the reliability. It delivers what it claims. In fact, the other models you see around usually fail to fuse together the 2 pieces of filament, or they accomplish that, but they create a joint that is too large and ends up clogging the printed. The connector you see in my hands, on the other hand, successfully fuses the different filaments together consistently. But how is this tool used? The system is very simple. You first take 2 pieces of filament and insert them into a small PTFE tube that comes along with the filament connector. You then set the chosen material and wait for the small plate to heat up. The connector will alert you with a beep when the correct temperature is reached. At that point, we can insert the filament into the space inside the tool. Lower the cover and within seconds we will have a single filament. In fact, this plate you see is the heating element of the connector and it melts the material to create a single roll. The connector arrives with a bunch of very convenient presets that you can use to try creating your own custom filament right away. If you want to, you can still change the temperature of the presets by using the touchscreen. Just press on the play button and click on the arrows to raise or lower the temperature. When we actually want to get the connector warmed up, we simply press on the power button. To get the best possible results, you can use some simple tricks. First, cutting the 2 ends of the filament at a 45-degree angle will make the joint between the 2 pieces stronger. This is because the contact surface between the 2 ends of material will be larger than if you simply cut vertically. Then, be careful when you pull the filament out of the device, because it will obviously have to cool down once the connector has finished doing its part. If you want to, at this stage you can slightly press the 2 halves together, so you can make sure that they stay attached while the material cools. Once the plastic has returned to room temperature, we can remove the PTFE tube. To do this, we have 2 options. The easiest method is to cut it off. Sunlu has come up with a very nice system for this purpose, and it's this little space that you see on the back. We can insert the small tube there and close the filament connector cover. In fact, there's a small blade that will cut the PTFE and free the filament. If the pieces are relatively short, you can also opt to simply slide the PTFE out of the joint. So in this way you can also reuse the piece of PTFE. The filament connector arrives with quite a lot of tubes, but don't worry if you finish them, because you can order a 200 pieces set on Sunlu website for about $8. So, what we can use this tool for? I want to give you 5 super interesting ideas, in my opinion, starting from the simplest and going all the way up to the most advanced, I would say. The most intuitive application is, of course, joining pieces of filament that you have lying around or samples that you have received. For example, I collected a bunch of samples from Formnext from different brands that I can simply and conveniently join together with this connector to create a mini spool, I would say. Furthermore, you surely have some scattered spools are lying around the house that have just a few meters left. Well, with this filament connector you can simply join them to create a pretty long segment of filament, so you can create something a little bit bigger than just a simple part. But now let's move on to the most creative applications. In fact, not only you can join filaments of the same color, but of any shade you want. So the third application that I want to share with you for this tool is multicolor filaments. Many companies produce rainbow or gradient filaments. These varieties have different colors in the different coils of the spool. They offer from 3 gradations all the way up to 7 or 8. These are very fun materials, but they are usually used for specific projects rather than everyday prints. So if you just need a small amount of this kind of filament for a specific project, or maybe if you want a specific shade for this kind of effect, this little tool runs to your aid. In fact, you can create as much filament as you actually need by going and selecting precisely the color you want. Now let's move on to another similar but slightly different application. It is honestly one of my favorites, along with the one that I will reveal in a moment. It is about creating custom filaments that you can't buy anywhere. What I'm talking about? You can mix different type of filaments. For example, dual color with tricolor, silk with matte, wood or marble with solid color, and so on. You can really have a lot of fun with this connector. For instance, I want to combine 2 dual silks with different colors to create a one-of-a-kind filament. You can't buy this kind of material anywhere, so just for that single reason, I would say that this tool is an accessory that a maker should really have in its workshop. Lastly, one application that I would like to explore further is multicolor print without the need for a special unit. But how? You should know that there's a tool that uses this system, and this is the Mosaic Manufacturing Palette. The unit calculates how many meters of filament are needed to print a certain colored segment before there's a need for another color. Then it cuts the spool and welds the pieces together to form a long segment of filament that you can use for a multicolor print. So you don't need an AMS, ACE or any other machine of this kind. In fact, you can achieve the same result with this filament connector by doing this procedure manually. Especially for smaller models, I think it's a nice option, so let me know down in the comments if you would like a video about it. I haven't told you yet how much this tool costs. You can find it for about $30 with 200 tubes included on Amazon or Sunlu. website. I think it makes a great gift for a maker friend, and I would say that it's an honest price, because you will really be able to use every meter of your spools. So you will find all the links to the products that I've showed you down in the description, and let me know in the comments if you have already used this little instrument. If you like the reviews, you may also like those videos.